still sent the other douchebags invite too. One pick wonders. You now have the experts in charge.
That's right.
That's right, damn it.
Got rid of the riffraff.
I don't need you other clowns on the show.
Yeah, Brian's stuck at the kids' table.
At One Pick Wonders, Twitter, at One Pick Wonders, YouTube. Whoops. Whoopsie. I dropped my beer. It's probably going to explode now when I open it.
Yeah, better give it a minute.
YouTube and Twitter, you're getting your best 4 picks for NFL. But we're down to, we had just like the NFL, you get some pussies that can't play the full season. And they want to sit on the sidelines in hoodies and sweatpants and draw that paycheck. Well, that's what we're dealing with tonight. We have myself, the producer, Big Danny D, the 5 Head of Knowledge, and we're missing Ryan, the Office, and BKO, the Sports Betting Guru, who is at a company. BKO is at a company Christmas party, and Ryan, the Office, has had too much eggnog. Is that the deal?
I guess,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess he got drunk at his office party today. So he's down and out.
Yeah, well, I had an office party today, but nobody was giving me any booze. I don't know what. We need to get a better office party, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so. We need to liven it up there.
Yeah, I mean, these people are weak. So I do want to congratulate Army on their defeat of Navy. And I want to congratulate Navy on the canning of their coach immediately after the game in the locker room. And he's from Hawaii. And the Army kicker that kicked the winning field goal in overtime is from Honolulu. So beat Navy. Good riddance to the coach. I don't even know his name. I just know I don't like him. I know a couple of years ago when Army won the game at the last minute that he sprinted down the sidelines, and basically after Army snapped the ball, he went timeout, 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 and Army scored a touchdown, and they said that he got the timeout in time because he already saw the play what Army was going to run to score the touchdown, and they gave him the timeout, and then of course Army didn't win the game. So that is a classic case of a coach inserting himself into the game instead of just simply being a coach and letting the play run out. So good riddance to you, Navy coach, and as far as I'm concerned, the Army coach can go to coach for Navy too. I wouldn't shed a tear. If Monken gets canned, he can go coach for Navy. Because he apparently likes to lose too. What bowl game is Army going to this year? So,
the Nothing Bowl.
Well, maybe the Independence Bowl, where they can't give away enough free tickets to that damn thing. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's some crazy bowl game on tomorrow. I forget what it's called, the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. It's like, you can't tell me there aren't too many bowl games and you have the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
Is that a real thing? The Jimmy
Yeah,
Kimmel Bowl?
it's real.
Are you serious?
I thought it was a joke. It's a real football game. They play it out in SoFi.
Who's playing?
I don't know.
I'm watching a game right now. As a matter of fact, it's the Raiders against somebody. Something Raiders. You're not watching this game, college football?
I mean, the North Dakota State versus the Incarnate Word.
No, the Purple Raiders against the Cardinals.
No, that's like Division Three.
Yeah, it's a D3, and both teams are 14-0 on the season.
Wow.
Yeah, this is some serious football going on here.
Now slipping back between North Dakota State and whatever the hell the other team is, and the Sixers game.
Are you betting on basketball? I don't know.
No, I did it once. I was lucky that I won, and then that was it. I never did it again. Basketball, I bet once on baseball too. It's too boring. It's not the same thing as betting on football. Football's so much better.
It's never boring if you're winning money.
I won, and it was still boring.
Now, who do you think's going to win the soccer deal? Because I know
Oh.
you love fake football. So who do you
Well,
think's
my
gonna win
allegiance
the
has to be to
soccer deal?
France. I mean, I am half French. I have to have allegiance to them.
You should join the French Foreign Legion. They would take you in. You could probably speak a little French.
Yes.
I could see you crawling through the mud, low crawling with your weapon under the barbed wire,
Oh, yeah.
with
First thing I'm going to do.
with gunfire going overhead. Yes,
Yeah,
that
sounds
would
like
be the
fun.
perfect job for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can be I can get my French citizenship without having to go through anything because my mother's French.
You could get your French citizenship. You can get your Israel citizenship.
Yeah, I could be a man with no country.
Well, I don't know if you've ever learned the proper French hand salute.
Oh, yeah. That's the Polish one, too. That's it. We surrender.
Hey, and then they wouldn't let us fly over their country to bomb whatever the hell we were going to bomb when Reagan was in office. They said, "Oh, you can't overfly France to bomb." Who were we trying to bomb? We were trying to bomb somebody.
What is that? Syria?
Yeah, we were trying to bomb somebody, and then France said, "Oh, you can't overfly our territory to bomb."
Was that Syria back then?
Who the hell was it that we were trying to bomb?
Because wasn't there like a barracks or American barracks that exploded somewhere in that
Yeah,
area?
that was in Beirut. That was in Beirut.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was Beirut.
Okay.
Yeah, but the war going on in Ukraine, all I hear about is how much military aid USA is going to provide. Where the hell is France? Where the hell is Britain? Where the hell is Germany? All these other countries. What are you giving these guys? Everyone wants to know how much weapons the U.S. is going to give these guys. Where all those other countries can drive to Ukraine from your country. Okay.
I don't know.
Where's your support? What are you doing?
They don't report much on that. I don't know. I don't know what they provided. I mean, they might be providing other things like intelligence.
I'll just tell you one thing. I would not want to fight Israel. Israel, their military is badass. They will kick your ass just like they did Egypt. And
Yeah, they're good on both ends versus regular wars, but also they're pretty stealth too. You know, they assassinate some of these people. You know,
oh yeah, they don't mess around. They're a little country, but Iran is afraid of them. I guarantee you, Iran is afraid of that country. 'Cause
That's why they
they
used to.
will fuck you up.
That's why they used the Palestinians try to do these stupid things and let them get killed instead.
Well, they were talking about what do they talk about? The Golan Heights and the
Gaza Strip.
the Gaza Strip, and they say, yeah, you were on that territory and you were shooting down upon us, so we kicked your ass in the what was that the what was it? What do they call it? The Yom Kippur War or whatever it was in the
Yeah, there's a
70s?
bunch of them. That war, the 7-Day War.
Yeah,
I forget.
and they said you were occupying that land and you were shooting down upon us, so we kicked your ass and we took it, and now you cannot shoot down upon us anymore. And they're like, oh no, that's a Palestinian land. Not anymore, because we don't want you to sit up there and shoot down upon us. So that's our land now. So they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, it's a shame that they never were able to work out something diplomatically. That
There's nothing diplomatic. You got to keep the high ground, because
Yeah,
Israel is a postage stamp. So if you don't keep the high ground, you're stupid. That's why they occupy the high ground, because they went and kicked the ass in whatever it was, the Yom Kippur War, or the, I don't know, there was a couple of them, but
yeah.
Israel kicked butt. So, and they have good weapons. So we're here to talk about football. I digress, right, Dan? I digress.
That's right. Well, that's what you do.
But you know, everyone in Israel is mandatory to join the army, male and female. Okay, so there you have it. They don't mess around. They know they have to defend themselves. So
Yeah, they all do it.
I've seen pictures of some very sexy Israeli war fighting women. Posing with machine guns and such. So very pretty.
They'll be in the next Guns and Ammo.
In the next edition of the Soldier of Fortune magazine.
She's beautiful and a killer.
That's right. And she has a beret on. What's more sexy than that? That is so sexy. So, speaking of football, shall we go to our absentee bets first? Because I will lean on you for the analysis for the absentee bets. So, one of them being the Bills. Who's picking the Bills? BKO, the sports betting guru, is picking the Bills.
Yes, he's picking the Bills. He wanted me to let you know that it's a gut pick.
Oh, it's another gut pick? Oh,
it's a gut pick again this week. And that he's going to enjoy sleeping with the homeless people under the bench at the park after the party tonight. He was afraid of all the jokes. He was afraid of some sort of Jerry Sandusky joke, or him with the homeless person or whatever.
Well, he fed into the joke because he was texting saying that he got put down to the kiddie table at the Christmas dinner.
Mm-hmm.
That he was seated around amongst a group of children, and I said, "Yeah, he didn't even make it to the adult table."
Yes,
at the Christmas party. So,
yes, he's been demoted to the kids' table. But he's taking the Bills. I think the Bills are -7. The weather in Buffalo is supposed to be absolutely horrible. They're supposed to get 2 feet of snow, I think, between today and Sunday. Somehow they're still playing that football game. Miami last week in Los Angeles, where it was 55 degrees at kickoff, had the heaters on. Whereas this week it's going to be like 25 degrees with a wind and the whole thing, and snowing and whatever in Buffalo. Miami hasn't played well the last 2 weeks. What's his name? Tua hasn't played well the last 2 weeks. For some reason last week I did not understand Miami's game plan, which worked out for you. Because you won your bet that way, and we had a great week. Yep. Was that the Chargers are one of the worst teams in the league against the run. They were last in the league in yards per carry at 5.4 yards a carry going into that game. Yet Miami just didn't run the football against them, which makes no sense. The defense hasn't been great lately. And their offense has been shut down. The other San Francisco and Los Angeles both showed sort of a blueprint of how you kind of shut down the Miami offense. Tua doesn't move particularly well. I mean, he can move, but doesn't run. He doesn't do much scrambling, really. He relies on throwing all the time. He throws two guys, Waddle and Hill. But the conditions tomorrow are not going to be advantageous to doing that if it's going to be cold, windy, and snowing constantly during the game. So I don't know what McDaniels will come up with. Everyone thinks he's some sort of boy genius, but we'll see what he comes up with tomorrow. But I agree with this pick of the Bills. The Bills have played better. Their defense has played much better lately. Josh Allen plays better. I think they're going to embrace the environment tomorrow. Their fans will be there. They'll be nuts. They love it when it's like that. I just think it'll be tough for Miami. I know that they had a tough one against the Jets last week, but I think they won by 8. So they would have covered in this situation too. So it's just, the Bills have a lot to play for. It's a big game. If they win this, they pretty much get the East because everyone else would be pretty much vanquished at that point. And they'd be able to try to inch their way towards one of the top seeds if possible. Since they did beat Kansas City earlier in the season. So this is important for them. But so Brian decided to go with Buffalo and -7, and I can see where he's coming from this one. It's a good pick.
I don't have a problem with Buffalo, but and you did discuss the weather, but you got to look at this at the +7. That's the big deal there. And the weather elements feel like they could give Buffalo the advantage, but it's a big but. Miami will have to figure out how to run the ball, keep Josh Allen and company off the field, especially with the weather at play. Miami has lost 2 in a row, as you said. They only scored 17 points in each. The Bills can clinch, as you said, the Bills can clinch a playoff spot with a win and get one step closer to the AFC title. This is a tough number at 7.5, especially since the Bills are 6-1 against the spread on the season. That doesn't sound too good. And 2-5 against the spread over their last 7. It's a tough buy point on Buffalo at this number, even though they've won 8 of the last 10 straight up against Miami. So we're going to have to take a pass on this. We're going to have to go with Miami on this based on the spread. So the next game we're covering is Ryan, the Office, Robinson's pick of the Eagles.
Yes, the Eagles over his own Bears. Let me just see something first here.
Eagles are playing
in Chicago.
At what time? What time's the game?
Well, first, BetMGM has the Buffaloes at -7 for that game.
I know, but that half point is going to be huge in this game.
I know, but I'm saying they have -7. They don't have -7.5. They just have -7.
I know, but that half point.
What half point?
The 7 versus 7.5.
Well, yeah, I just think if it's
7.5, now it's a 7, but that's still a touchdown. So.
No, sure. I just think a 7 makes it a better chance of a push, obviously, than the obviously 7.5. You wouldn't have one. But Ryan is taking the Eagles -9 at the Bears. The Bears have a bunch of receivers who are all out for this game. Claypool's out. Some other guy I never heard of. He's out. Mooney's out for the season. Half their defense is out for the season. The Bears are third to worst. They're 29th in the league in scoring defense, which means they got the third most points in the league. Their secondary is completely decimated. They have no pass rush. They trade everybody away. The Eagles are coming off 2 games where they won by a combined, 53 points, I think, in the last 2 games. Something like that. They have road teams. So this is a mismatch. I mean, I know Justin Fields can make some plays and do some stuff and run around a little bit, but they're just not going to be able to score enough points. And their defense is so bad, they're not going to stop the Eagles. They're just terrible at everything. Whereas the Eagles have their defense is number 2 overall. Their offense is, I think, is number 5. They're number 1 in league in scoring. Chicago, I think, is like 20th in the league in scoring. The Eagles' defense, I think, is 7th in the league in points given up. The Eagles' offense has been on a roll the last several weeks, as I mentioned. Jalen Hurts has been great. The receivers have been great. They've run the football a lot. Last week, they ran the football for almost 300 yards against the Giants. And I see no reason why this would stop them. I know it's going to be cold in Chicago, but I kind of expect it. But that defense is just so bad. I don't see how the Eagles are going to – I think they should cover easily based on the last 2 weeks. This really shouldn't be a problem. I mean, this game should be over in the third quarter if things go the Eagles' way. The Bears are so bad. I mean, I understand this season's about the progression of Justin Fields, which he has gotten better. But the Bears are in the middle of a total rebuild. They're 3-10. They've lost 6 in a row. The Eagles have only lost once the whole season. So I can see where Ryan's coming from. He goes with big spreads. He's pretty gutsy when it comes to that. But the Bears are just overmatched here. And Justin Fields can't win the game by himself. So that's why I like this pick of the Eagles, despite being a huge spread.
But yet again, we have the spread situation, and you're calling it a 9?
Yeah, and the Eagles covered a 9-point spread last week against the Giants, won by 26.
So the issue we have is that the Eagles have already punched their ticket to the playoffs and have a huge matchup on deck with the Cowboys. Well, they're saying Christmas Eve? Is that Christmas Eve?
Yes. Almost all the games are on Christmas Eve. There's only 3 games on Christmas Day on that Sunday. There's like 10 or 11 games on Christmas Eve.
It's a mismatch on paper, but the Bears seem headed for a top 3 pick in the draft. But Philly will have success on the ground. Healthy Justin Fields. Expected to play.
Yeah, he's fine. He practiced.
Bears average over 210 yards rushing at home. Philly gives up over 100 yards on the ground this year. Eagles have only faced one mobile quarterback this season equal to Justin Fields when they played Arizona on the road in a
they won
2017 win. Eagles are off back-to-back blowouts of the Giants and Titans, but are just 2-4 against the spread on the road this year, and they're in a look-ahead spot with the Cowboys on deck. So there's a sharp discrepancy with just 39% of the tickets going to Chicago, 62% of the money on the home dog. So that's looking like the Bears at a +9. That's what we're seeing there on the analysis.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I just think it could be another blowout. I mean, so many guys are injured for the Bears. It's going to be tough for them to score.
So I have gone against the BKO Sports Betting Guru pick and the Ryan the Office pick, but let me state that the 5 Head of Knowledge, Danny D, has stolen my pick, which of course I will not be talking about. So let's have the 5 Head of Knowledge pick for week 15.
My pick for this week is the Minnesota Vikings, who play tomorrow at 1 o'clock, -3.5 over the Indianapolis Colts. The Vikings get a bunch of guys back who they need. To be honest, the Vikings defense has been absolutely terrible lately. They give up way too many passing yards. I agree with Brian. I don't love their defensive coordinator at Donato. I think he's too passive. But they're facing a Colts team that's a complete disarray. Matt Ryan has 18 turnovers this season, which is just ridiculous. He's only played like 13 games, I think, or 12 games. They have 18 turnovers. You can't win. What's his face? The running back Taylor's trying to get to 1,000 yards despite missing a couple games this year, but it doesn't matter. Their defense gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter to the Cowboys last time they played. Minnesota's coming off a game they lost to Detroit, but Justin Jefferson had over 225 yards receiving and Kirk Cousins at over 400 yards passing. So I see no reason why that shouldn't continue. Indy's defense has some injuries. Their offense is terrible. They can't score. They don't score in the red zone. And honestly, Minnesota needs some redemption here. They've really played poorly lately. They were a 10-2 team going to Detroit and were a underdog, which I think says a lot. And ended up losing. Detroit ended up covering in that game. So I just hope that was a wake-up call for them because they're playing such a bad team in Indianapolis. I understand Detroit's actually playing well, so I think Detroit deserves some credit. They're actually playing well for once. They're one good season every 3 decades that they have.
I thought I was betting on Detroit. Now you're talking about Detroit. What happened?
I don't know. Detroit's playing. You're picking a different game. Minnesota played Detroit last week.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about this week. I'm like,
no. They play Indianapolis this week.
Oh, okay. All right.
Jeff Saturday came in off of TV, off of the set, and he comes strolling in, and they beat the stupid Raiders in their first game, and everyone's crowning.
Losers does it take to make me breakfast?
And everyone's crowning Jeff Saturday some kind of like motivational genius. Then they lost to the Eagles. Then they lost to the Steelers. Then they lost to the Cowboys. So the downward spiral has begun. So I just think Matt Ryan's going to turn the ball over because he always turns the ball over. They don't get a lot of big plays because the receivers aren't very good. They're going to try to run the football, but I think Minnesota will be loading. They use a BKO term, loading the box, to prevent that and force Matt Ryan to win the game, which he can't.
Don't forget jam him at the line, too.
Yes, that's absolutely right. That the jam him at the line.
Jam him at the line.
Yes, and the Bills are going to do that, too. They're going to jam their Dolphins receivers at the line.
No, they're going to be like who is the guy from the movie? Where he's he's like, yes, hello, I am from the country of
Andy Kaufman.
No, the guy that goes around and fools everybody.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah.
What's his name? Borat.
Borat, yeah. He's like, he should do that. He's like, jam him at the line. Jam him at the line.
But anyway, I expect Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson to have a big day, and I think Minnesota should cover 3.5. And if they don't, then their coach will be fired because Indianapolis is terrible and Jeff Saturday is way in over his head. He has no idea what the hell he's doing. So, this could be a big problem for Minnesota because the 49ers just won, and they're 10-4. So if they lose,
thank you for losing my money.
Yes. So they were. They could be in a battle now for San Francisco for the number 2 seed if they lose that game. So it's a big game for them. Whereas Indianapolis has nothing to play for. They're playing for a high draft pick at this point, where they hopefully can draft a quarterback since they've had none since Andrew Luck decided to retire. So everyone, put your money on Minnesota this week, minus 3.5.
Bingo, bitches!
So being that Dan, the 500 knowledge took my pick, I had to go with another pick. So this is your parlay du jour, right, for Sunday. That would be the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Jets. Okay. And apparently, because I had to do a last-minute pick on the Jets, so I had to look at some write-ups on this, but this is really long-winded, the write-up on this thing, so you can't get into that. So, Dan, will you just tell me why the Jets are going to beat the Lions in simple terms? Because otherwise, I'm going to read this whole fucking thing. And it is long-winded, let me tell you.
I don't know why the Jets are going to beat the Lions.
What?
Mike White's not going to play. It's going to be Zach Wilson, who's a shithead. He's going to play. What's he called?
It said Mike White showed his toughness last Sunday.
He's not going to play. The doctors wouldn't clear him after a rib injury. so he's out on Sunday.
This
So it's
says
going to
I
be Zach
expect him to
Wilson.
play. So what the hell happened with that?
The doctors wouldn't clear him today. So Salah said
This is
that Wilson's going to
bullshit.
play.
This is bullshit. You already fucked up my bet.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I need a sound effect for that.
Yeah,
There's got to be a sound effect for that.
you need the Princess Red loser horn.
You know that?
So I don't know.
I dropped my phone in the toilet.
Remember, maybe Zach Wilson will be motivated from his benching, and he'll start playing better. Detroit's won 6 out of 7, I think. And they already won one game at the Meadowlands against the Giants this year. The Jets do have a good defense, so the defense will be there. I believe their corner Gardner will try to take away St. Brown, who's the best receiver, or maybe Jamison Williams, who's back from his ACL injury. Jared Goff has played really well lately. It's supposed to be windy on Sunday, so that might be beneficial to the Jets, who actually run the football better and can play defense. But it really comes down to Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson plays like crap, they have no shot. But if he plays decently, they'll have a chance to win. If it was White, it would be a different story, I think, and it would be a better pick because he's shown that he can be a little more consistent. But we have to see. I mean, they're going to need to do some things since Detroit's been on such a roll lately. But it's a home game. The weather might be in their favor. Detroit may be coming off an emotional win against Minnesota they never beat because Detroit never beats anybody. And their coach is crazy. But we'll see. I mean, it depends how motivated. I think Zach Wilson could be really motivated here, knowing that this is his chance. And that if he screws this up, he might be gone and Mike White might be the new quarterback for the Jets, and then he might be traded somewhere. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
So even after Brees Hall's injury, the Jets' running game hasn't skipped a beat. Thanks to the emergence of Zonovan and Knight, the undrafted rookie out of NC State has shown the ability to break tackles, grind out yards. Should be in store for another big game against a Lions defense trending up but still outside the top 20 in all major run-stop metrics.
Their defense stinks. I think they're one of the worst defenses in the league and just everywhere.
So that's your 2-game parlay is going to be your Vikings and your Jets. The other picks are Ryan the Office picking the Eagles and BKO, the sports betting guru, picking the Bills, I believe, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Good luck to me and Dan on our 2-game parlay. And sorry about the drunks. Oh, I had a sound effect for the 2 drunks tonight.
She was a bad egg.
Where's she gone?
Where all the other bad eggs go. Down the garbage chute.
Oh, the garbage chute. Where does it lead to?
To the furnace.
The furnace! Should be sizzled like a sausage.
Well, not necessarily. She could be stuck just inside the tube.
Inside the... Hold on! Veruca! Sweetheart! Daddy's coming!
I'm surprised that guy fit down there. He was pretty hefty. That's a what do you call it? A sneakily evil movie.
It is.
It really is. It's a creepy movie.
He's like, I don't know. What the one little kid went down the chute and he's like, I don't know where it goes. It goes somewhere.
Maybe it goes to a furnace.
Yeah,
Maybe
like,
they're stuck in
we
there.
don't know.
Nobody knows. Oh well, your kid's a little brat anyway.
And they should have never remade it because I would never watch the remake on that. That movie was perfect on the first take.
I mean, it wasn't exactly like the book. I think the remake was supposed to be a little closer, but yes, I agree with that. They should have left it alone.
What was the quote of? I think I got that one too. It was I thought I had that one.
They were supposed to make a sequel, but they didn't do it because there's another book about them in the elevator, and they have adventures in that crazy elevator that can fly. I think it's called Charlie and the Glass Elevator, but they didn't make that into a movie, unless they made the new one into a movie. But the old one, they didn't do the old one.
Well, and the guy, the guy that the evil guy that was there was basically a Nazi character, right? You know, with the gobstopper.
Oh, Slugworth.
Yeah, he was basically a Nazi, right?
He worked for the Willy Wonka. It was he was like he was trying to weed out and try to find the right kid and see which kid wouldn't give up the gobstopper by him doing that. So it's like, oh, scam.
He's like, and Willy Wonka's like, "Good day, sir. You get nothing."
Yes, he'll get nothing. Get out. And then he gives him back the candy, and he gets all happy. Oh, okay, you won. Great. Now let's go in this elevator, or just me and you and your grandfather together, and let's see what happens. It's such a weird movie.
That is a weird movie.
With the singing, and there's also a lot of controversy about the Oompa Loompas. You thought that was a little weird. This guy having these like quote unquote slaves working in his factory.
With the midgets working in the factory, right?
Yeah, and originally their color was supposed to be black, but they're afraid of backlash, which made them orange.
So they made them look like Native Americans.
Yes, instead.
So they didn't get as much backlash.
Apparently not. I mean, that part of the movie is really weird too.
Well, that one and what's the other one with the Wizard of Oz? I mean, that thing's messed up too. You know.
Yes, that's a weird movie too. You know, it's just she kills a woman with her house, and everyone's like, okay.
That's what to this day, the Air Force cadets call the Army cadets whoops, right? Because if you watch The Wizard of Oz, those monkeys were wearing West Point dress gray uniforms, right? Yeah, look at their uniforms. They're wearing West Point dress gray uniforms, and then when they fly out the window, they go whoop 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 whoop, you know, and that's why the Air Force and the Navy cadets call the Army cadets whoops. They call them whoops because of the monkeys on Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
You know what that movie's really about? The guy didn't want the United States to go off the gold standard. In the book, her shoes were silver, and it's supposed to be like they're talking about silver and gold, and how they should save it on silver, not going on to silver and going to gold standard. And then she was talking about she grew up in Kansas. It was supposed to be this ideal place to be a family, and then Emerald City was supposed to be like New York City, which corrupts you.
That's crazy.
Yes, I remember I had a history teacher went through the whole thing about what that book was really about. I think I was in high school.
So why did they change the shoe to red then?
Because I guess it looked better in them for the movie. It might have been just a color thing.
No, because the original movie was black and white. It was colorized.
No, the middle was color. It always was color. They had color technology then in 1939.
Oh, so they started the movie in black and white and then switched it to color. I remember that, right?
Yes, the middle, which was in Oz, was in color, and then it was back to black and white, which was back in reality after you woke up from a concussion. I mean, it was all a dream.
Right, and that's why I say the best. We were talking about last week about the season finales on these sitcoms, and the best one was it was the one when Bob Newhart was the innkeeper in Vermont, right? And the season finale was that he woke up in bed with his wife from the original Bob Newhart show, and he says, "I just had this weird dream. I was a innkeeper in Vermont." And she's like, "Okay, Bob."
He wasn't in bed with Bob Crane.
No. He was in bed with. That was the season finale. He says,
I know.
I had this weird dream. I was an innkeeper in Vermont. And she's like, "Okay, Bob."
That's good. That's creative.
Was good. That was the best season finale.
Yeah.
I don't think you can top that. I don't think you can top that one.
No, most of these shows have no idea what they're doing. It's like, I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV anyway, a lot of these shows. Yeah. But it seems like they just try to throw something together and go, okay, here at the end.
Well, because when it's the end, the viewership is dropping, and they're just trying to reach for this, anything they can do to do a season finale, right?
Yeah, like the end of the A-Team. The last episode makes no sense.
What happened in the last episode?
Trying to think. I think they got hired by a little girl whose grandfather or father, her grandfather was kidnapped by some Russian guy because he wanted them to help him with something. I forget. And he beat up the Russian guys and their henchmen. It just makes no sense. It just had no point. And they get the grandfather back, who's I think was played by Lou Ayres, or not Lou Ayres. Who's the other guy? Damn it, I forget his name. The guy, maybe it was him. He was also the guy in The Omen. He died in that movie too. But it just made no sense, and there's like no conclusion to anything. Just sort of just the show ended and that was it. There was no resolution to their situation. They're still wanted by the army. They never, did anything. It just made no sense.
Well, look at the classic. I don't think it was the last episode, but the classic was Happy Days, right? And that's where you came up with the term "jump the shark," right?
Yes.
When Fonzie jumped the shark.
Well, you knew who was in that episode.
And that was a to be continued episode.
But you know who's in that episode?
Who?
Ted McGinley.
Who's that?
Known as the show killer.
Yeah, but that was a 2-part episode because when he went to jump and he was in midair, it was to be continued. That was a 2-part episode, so you didn't even get to know if he actually jumped the shark.
I remember that guy used to be on Howard Stern, who had that website, jumptheshark.com. And he went through each show and figured out exactly when to jump the shark. Because they had that moment where they had like some awful guest star, or they just deviate completely from what they were doing. They killed the show.
Well, that would be an interesting documentary. The Jump the Shark documentary.
Yeah, and the thing is, it still had spin-offs.
I would watch it.
Man, I just can't believe how many spin-offs that show had.
Well, Laverne and Shirley was a spin-off from Happy Days.
Yeah. And what was the other one? Chachi and what's her face?
Oh, Chachi and Jody.
Yeah.
Joni and Chachi.
Yeah.
Hey, I love Laverne and Shirley. I mean, that was a great sitcom.
Yeah, that was good. Now half of them are dead.
Yeah, but well, no, Laverne and Shirley are both dead, aren't they?
I don't think so. I think just Penny Marshall died.
Oh, so Shirley's still alive.
Yeah, I think she's still alive, and Mike McKean's still alive.
Squiggy died.
Yes.
Okay.
He actually was a baseball scout at one point.
Damn.
I read about him. I couldn't believe that. He worked for the Angels as a scout. It's interesting.
It's a strange world. All right, good
Yes.
luck. So we're taking, you and I are taking the Vikings and the Jets.
That's correct.
And then the losing bets are the Bills and the
Eagles.
Eagles.
Yes.
All right, go Vikings, go Jets. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, see you next week. Have a good one.
You too, bye.
Bye.